Well, hello there, YouTube. How's it going? This is Ali from the AI Enthusiast. So today we're at lesson 3, and we will be covering variables again. But this time around, we're going to be covering lists, tuples or tuples, and dictionaries. So these are essentially, we're still talking about variables, but this is not a string. This is not an integer. This is a little bit more complex. We call them complex types, right? Really. And it's not complex from an understanding perspective. You'll see this is pretty simple stuff, but they're very, very useful variable complex types. And we call these data structures, if you will. But so let's jump right into it. All right, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is lists. So a list is just a collection of ordered elements that can be modified. So Python lists are created using square brackets. So I've created a list here. Fruits equals, and then here's my brackets, and then I can put any type of one inside. So I have a bunch of strings in here. And now I have numbers, so I could do, a list of numbers. And I'm going to go ahead and type in another list. I'm going to say months, and I'm going to, instead of doing a string, I got to first open up the brackets. So open up the brackets. And then inside I can do a string. So I'm going to do a double quoted string. I'll do January, and then I'll do Feb, and then I'll do March. And I added a space in the last one. So it's that simple to create a list, guys. And then I can just print, if I want to, I can print months. Just like we can print anything before, like in our previous video, we're printing months now. So basically print any variables, right? So now that you can do that, so how do you extract like one variable out of this, right? One of these elements. Well, you can use a colon right here. You're going to use the index of it, of that number, of that element, and it's going to be fruits. You're going to use the brackets, and then inside is a number. Now remember, guys, this is 0 based, so it starts with a 0. So this is going to be 0, 1, 2. And so apple is going to be fruits sub 0. If I'm talking about fruits sub 1, that's going to be banana. So let's go ahead and print that. Fruit sub 1 is banana. So let me print the second number in the numbers list. It's a little confusing, but I have my print statement. Now what goes inside my print statement? Well, numbers is the list I want to look at. And then I'm going to use my brackets. So I got my left and right brackets. And then the index, I want to get the second number. So that's the number 4 here. So what index is that, guys? So remember, indices of elements, they start at 0. So 5 is the 0th element, 4 is the first element, 3 is the second, 2 is the third, 1 is the fourth, 9 is the fifth, and then 0 is the sixth. So if I want to do 4, I'm going to do, it's a 0, 0, 1. So that's going to be 1. And if I print that, I get banana, and then I get 4. So if you want to use spaces here just to kind of help you think through the problem, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, that's pretty much all a list is, guys. Now, let me again visually show this to you. So here's our memory in our computer. And as we were showing in our previous video, we were showing how, if I had A and this is equal to 3, I did like A equals 3, and this is A stored in 3. 3 is stored in the cell A. Now we have a list, guys. So we have a list, we have fruits. So now fruits, I can just have a list, and it's the same exact concept, right? So I'm going to actually allocate, maybe I'm going to allocate this portion of my memory. And this whole thing is my list. And it's basically the fruits list. And so inside of here, then my first element, remember elements of a list, it's indices. So this is index 0, this is index 1, and then index 2. And so inside of this, I have apple, banana, and cherry. So I'm not going to write it all out, but this would be apple, this would be banana, and this would be cherry. And that is now in the memory, this is how it's stored. So when I do fruits sub 0, it's saying, hey, just like this is my, my memory, this is the fruits section, right? Like this variable, this object, this data here, is my fruits list. And then when I say when I do fruits sub 0, I'm saying go to fruits in my memory. Okay, I'm in my fruits. And then from there, 0 is the index, so I'm getting apple out. And so now if we want to assign, so remember last time we can also say A equals 3, B equals 4, right? Months equals this. So now months is a section in memory, and it's maybe this section here, and it's got January, February, March, ... Likewise, what we can do is we can actually set values within the list. So if I want, I can modify the list. I can say fruits sub 1 is equal to orange. So remember, fruits right now is apple, banana, and cherry. Sub 1. So 1 is where banana is, right? Because 0, 1, 2. So banana is the first element. It's the one indexed element. Apple is the 0th element. And so if I do fruit sub 1, I'm saying go to fruit sub 1. So fruits, I have, this is fruits area, like fruits data, and then fruit sub 1 is this memory cell. So in this memory cell, I want to set a new value. I want to set it equal to orange. So when I do that, when I print it, I get apple, orange, cherry. So banana got erased. Basically, what was in this second cell here, we crossed that out, and then we wrote orange, ... And that's how we set values. And I can go ahead and change the second. So now, remember, index 2, meaning it's the second element. It's the second element starting from 0. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2. So 0, 1, 2, we're modifying where cherry was. So now if I print fruits here, print, open up the curlies, and then, or just parentheses, not curly brackets. This is a curly bracket, but we are talking about parentheses. And inside of here, I can just print fruits sub 2. And voila, I got grapes. I can also just print the whole list out, and I got apple, orange, grapes. So that's how you do it, guys. And then here's another example. I'm modifying 1, and so the first index 1. So remember, the original array, as you can see, is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ... We have it listed here. And so now I'm saying go to the first, like index 1 element, set it to 5, 4, 4, 2, 0, 3, and print numbers. And you can see here, the first, this is 0, this is 1, this is the position 1. And so this is where we're storing 5, 4, 4, 2, 3. That's how you're modifying the list. And there is some more practice here, guys. But one thing I want to show you is, so we start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the positions. If you put a number, like a negative number here, you're starting from the back, actually. So if I do -1, so this is the 0th index, -1 is like, oh, we're going backwards. There's nothing here. We loop around, and that's the -1 element, 0. So then if I do -2, that's 9. So I can go forwards in referencing my elements, or I can reference elements from backwards. So I'm going to print this. And as you can see, you have -1. So before numbers was this value. And then -1, we modified the last element. And then -2 is second from the last. And so now we are at 44. 44 is now the second from the last element. So there you have it, guys. That's a list. Now let's jump to tuples or tuples. I've used both pronunciations in the past, but really the way I think of a tuple is it's the same thing as a list, but you're, instead of using like brackets, you're going to use parentheses. And so I'm going to say, I don't know, I can say groceries, and then I got bananas, I got pasta, I got meat, right? And then I can print the groceries just like that. And I printed numbers first and groceries. And you can see instead of a bracket here, we got parentheses. So same exact story, guys. It's going to be inside of memory. There's going to be something called groceries. And then you're going to have, in this case, we have 3 elements. We have bananas, pasta, and meat. That's a pretty interesting combination. But yeah, that's basically going to be stored in memory. Now, the cool thing here is, what is the difference then if tuples are the same thing? Well, I wasn't exactly correct when I said that. There's a slight difference. And tuples, essentially, you can't modify them. So here's another tuple or tuple I have. house furniture, and I'm going to print this. So house furniture, I'm using parentheses, so I know it's a tuple or tuple, and I print it out. That's this line here. And then I'm printing out the first element. Remember, 0 is the first element. We start with zeros. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Chair is going to be right here. So that's why I printed out chair. Now, see, just like in a list, we can reference the index and get the value back of that element. Same way you can do it for tuple. But what you cannot do, remember in lists, we can modify a portion of the list. So remember how we modified number sub 1 and we set it equal to 5, 4, 4, 2, 3? Well, we can't modify a tuple or tuple. So basically this is the first element in the list where chair is. I cannot set it to another value. I can set it to like if I try to set it to, I don't know, rug or carpet, it wouldn't make sense. Or I can set it to 5. It doesn't matter. This is just going to error out because the value, it's a tuple type, and tuples cannot be changed. So if I do this, it's going to give me an error. It's going to say type error, and it's saying a tuple object does not support item assignment. Basically, an item in the tuple chair here, we cannot assign a value to it. We cannot overwrite it. And that's essentially what tuples are, tuples or tuples. So very straightforward, guys. It's just like in list, but you cannot modify it. And then we're going to get finally to dictionaries. Very, very, very important data structure. Just like lists are, we have lists, we have tuples, tuples, and then we have dictionaries. So another way to call another name for dictionary is a hash map. And the way we structure these, we are going to have curly brackets. And then it's key value pairs. So name is going to be John, age is going to be 30, city is going to be New York. So this is a person. We're describing a person, and they have basically attributes. They have certain characteristics. So a dictionary is literally a mapping from key, name is key, age is key, city is a key, and then what is the key's value? Name is John, age is 30, city is New York. And you can see this is a string type, this is a string type, this is a string type, this is an integer type, string, string. And so I can print person just like I can print all the other data that we've printed so far. I can just print person, and voila. Now, to modify a dictionary, so let's just say age. We want to modify the age value. Well, you remember how in the list we have over here, we have numbers sub 1, right? Exact same thing, guys. But now we're going to say person, because this is the person object right here. It's a person data structure. When I say data structure and I say object, I mean the same thing. Or dictionary. This is a person dictionary here. And I'm modifying. So I have my brackets. And then instead of like a number, I can just provide the key's name, age. And I can set that now. So I can say that's going to be 31. And now I can print the person. And I can also print a certain key within the person. I can just do the exact same thing I was doing within the list. So look at that. Person age is 31 now. Before it was 30. And then also I just want to print one value, like one of the keys in the dictionary. So I have person subname, and I can print John. And so there you have it, guys. We've gone through the 3 data types, data structures, lists, tuples or tuples, and then dictionaries. And one last thing real quickly. So what does a dictionary look like in memory, guys? Well, it's the exact same thing. So you have the list here, right? We didn't go through tuple, but it's very similar. But, the way I want you guys to think about a dictionary, so let's just say this is our dictionary. So then you have name. You have name, and then you have your age, and then you have your city. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say age, and then I have city. So I drew a little extra space here, but name here, I think we wrote John, and then age was 30, city was New York. And notice how the difference between the list and the dictionary, guys. Look at this. List, we do fruits sub 0, and then we go to fruits, and then 0 is the first element. But this is now person. So if we do person and we do sub age, we're going to this cell. So the name of the cell is the key value. And then what's inside of the cell is the data. This is just showing you the fundamental similarities between a list and a dictionary. And remember, this is your data. This is your memory in your computer. That's all it is. And now, guys, I just want to real quickly then move over to practice section. This is a section just for you guys. I want you to go ahead and look at the link in the description of this video. And I want you to open this up, make a copy of this collab notebook, and then go ahead and practice. Please go through these 1 through 5, these problems. And the way you're going to copy it, when you get to this link, just do File and then do Save a Copy to your Google Drive. You can save it in other ways too, but the easiest is save a copy in Drive, and then this will open it up for you. That's as simple as that, guys. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for your valuable time. I hope you gained something from this, and take care. Have a good one.